So Hector here, talking about Dreamforce 2016. One of the things I think we should kick off with is what to expect. Is this a conference? Is it a rock concert? Is it an inspiring event? Honestly, I think it's a combination of all of it, but one of the things, or a few things that you should expect is to be inspired, to be overwhelmed a little bit with a lot of people, whether you're going to a session or you're going to a keynote. There are at least over 140,000 people descending on San Francisco. So it's very easy to get overwhelmed, whether it's with parties or with distractions, or certainly with events that are inspiring to you, or even learning events, so the sessions that are there. That is at a baseline what to expect. Otherwise, expect to be in lines. Expect to be a little behind on your schedule.
And be prepared for these changes. It's not like you're taking a 12-hour flight with a baby, but you do need to plan for walking for 15 minutes at a time in comfortable shoes. You do need to plan for having a snack. You do need to plan for having cash in case there's some sort of an issue with your card. You do need to plan for what you're going to do if Wi-Fi isn't working, if you're having trouble connecting with someone, where you're going for your next session. Hand sanitizer, 17 times as many business cards as you think you need.
Absolutely.
Right? So many things that you need to prepare for. And the weather in San Francisco can be a little bit dicey.
That is very true. So if you come from a warm weather climate, it could actually be a little cool in the mornings. Not a big deal, but just something to expect, something to bring, as Josh said, and something to be inspired about. There's going to be a lot of it throughout the week, but just be prepared. You'll end Dreamforce in a way better place if you at least start with the basics. So as we talked about with those comfortable shoes, Josh, the campus of Dreamforce is rather large and it's not contained in one spot.
It is. It's quite spread out with all the different buildings, hotels.
Yeah.
Moscone North, Moscone South, Moscone East or West. You definitely need to be prepared for going from one to the other. And some of the lodges, or zones as they're calling them, are somewhat self-contained. So if you're in the customer service realm, or if you're in financial services, you may stay in the same zone for a given day. But if you're going from a sales to a Service Cloud session, you're guaranteed to change buildings, and when you change buildings, that's a 15-minute walk, and it might be in the rain, it might be in the fog.
With a lot of people trying to do the same thing. And the one thing I will add that is different than any other Dreamforce, and we've been warned about this, is the Moscone Center, which is the convention center where most of the action typically happens, is under construction. So part of it is not even available. So we deal with the larger campus, as you can see, different hotels, and then also Moscone Center is undergoing some changes. So just kind of be prepared for that. So as you're building your agenda.
Yes, you definitely need to be aware of that, because you can't go from 1 to 2 in one session and 15 minutes away start from 2 to 3. So be aware of the logistics, just like when you were at the university, of where you need to be and when and how you're going to get there. And lastly, I'd say an 8 a.m. session on the second day or after the gala, you need to realize, am I really going to make that session? If so, great. Did you have 8 o'clock classes in college, organic chemistry? Did you make it to that class at 8 a.m.? If you did, then an 8 o'clock session is the right thing for you. Otherwise, you may want to take the second version of that session, the later version at 3 o'clock, and realize that you'll be up until 10, 11, and possibly
And
later.
let's briefly talk about the agenda, mostly from don't schedule probably more than 4 a day. You can go to more than 4, but you're going to be walking, you're going to be eating, you're going to be networking, and those agenda sessions are in different spots, as we just mentioned. If you schedule more than 4, you're going to overextend yourself, and when it comes time to go to dinner, maybe network, maybe go to some events, maybe even party, and get yourself out on the dance floor, you're going to be exhausted. So just something to keep in mind. So Josh, let's talk about Wednesday of Dreamforce, which is called Dreamfest. It's at the Cow Palace, which by the way is rebranded the Cloud Palace.
Yes. And it's going to be an amazing concert. Having you two at the Cloud Palace should be, yes, quite a lot of fun. But getting there, coming back, you need to plan ahead. I wouldn't go to dinner. I would go, their dinner will be there. I would go there, I would get in line, I'd catch a bus early as soon as it's available. I'd get in line, and if you can get in, if you want to get up in the front, near the front, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and I think, Josh, you bring up a good point. Like, there's going to be, it's really fascinating. It's like you're going to a rock concert, but all the food and all the drinks at the venue are free. Mm-hmm. You're like, this is the best thing. But to Josh's point, Wi-Fi is going to be terrible. Plan ahead on logistics. If you want to meet somebody, have it specifically at a time and a place, because you may not be able to text. It's like you're at a big rock concert. It's going to be very spotty at best. Mm-hmm. But enjoy the show. U2's playing. It's benefiting RED, which is for AIDS in Africa, and it's going to be an amazing show, and we're looking forward to it. It's just be patient, and when it's all said and done, I think a lot of people learned from last year and the year before. You can take the shuttle buses. You can even take Uber, but maybe walk a couple of blocks down the road and get an Uber a little quicker, and you can beat everyone out. Because you don't want to leave you too early and get a cab or an Uber, but there will be a lot of people leaving at the same time.
Right. So walk a couple blocks away, get your Uber there, or take the bus.
Take the bus.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say are the, say, 3 things that someone should take away or do at Dreamforce?
Sure. I mean, simply put, there are a lot of things, but the top 3 I would say is learn. Learn about the ecosystem. Learn about how the technology can take your company farther. Be inspired. Be inspired by women in tech, by veterans, by different things that the platform is doing, not only in the nonprofit community, but within your community. And also network. Network with people that you've met at the last Dreamforce. Network with some of the folks that maybe work at your company, but you guys don't interact with on a daily basis. But those would be the top 3, Josh, I'd say, is network, learn, and be inspired.